Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, today we are really getting into it. The UEFA Nations League Final from 2025. What a match.
Absolutely. Munich, Portugal versus Spain. It had pretty much everything you could ask for in a final.
It really did. And we've got a great set of sources to dig through here. Match commentary, news reports, stuff right from the stadium, reactions afterwards, the whole picture.
Yeah, a really rich mix. It gives us a lot to work with.
So our mission, as always, is to unpack that for you. We'll pull out the key moments, the players who really stood out, the tactical decisions, and of course, that incredibly tense ending.
Because it wasn't just a game, was it? The sources painted as this real story. Resilience, individual moments, huge pressure.
Exactly. Let's dive in. The setting was Munich. Spain, as you mentioned, they were the holders from 2023. Portugal had won it back in 2019.
Right. And their paths to the final were pretty interesting looking at the reports. Spain had that crazy 5-4 semi against France. Just goals everywhere.
Wild. And Portugal.
They had a comeback win against Germany, 2-1. Showed some real grit there.
Okay, so the lineups. Spain, under De La Fuente, went with their typical 4-3-3. Right. Lots of possession.
Yeah, the sources mentioned Yamal, Nico Williams, Oyarzabal up front. And that midfield trio we know well. Zubimendi, Pedri, Fabian Ruiz. Standard stuff, trying to control the game.
And Portugal. Roberto Martinez looked like a blend.
Very much a blend. You had Ronaldo obviously providing that experience, but then exciting younger players too, like Nuno Mendes, Vitinha, Rúben Neves. They get mentioned quite a bit.
So Spain started, predictably perhaps, trying to dominate the ball.
That's their game. Lots of possession early on. And it did lead to the first breakthrough.
Right around the 21st minute. Spain, go ahead. Tell us about that one.
It was Zubimendi who got the goal. Reports say it came after a rebound, maybe some confusion in the Portugal box.
Okay.
But what's interesting is how sources highlight his positioning. Not just luck. Real intelligence to read the play, anticipate where that ball might end up. For a defensive midfielder, that's a pretty impressive reading of the game.
Smart play.
Yeah.
But Portugal didn't take long to hit back, did they?
No, not at all. Like 5 minutes later, bang.
Yeah.
26th minute, Nuno Mendes makes it 1-1.
Nuno Mendes again. Who set him up?
Pedro Neto with the assist. A shot into the corner. Commentators were immediately praising his impact, how quickly he got forward. Spectacular, one source called it.
He seemed to be a key figure, especially in that first half. Tactically, what were Portugal trying to do? Sources mentioned Martinez had a plan for Spain's wingers.
Definitely. Big focus on trying to contain Yamal and Nico Williams. Doubling up, trying to cut off the supply lines.
Did it work?
It was a mixed bag, according to commentary. Some question pulling João Neves wide to help defensively, maybe leaving space centrally, but the intent was clear. Stop Spain out wide.
Makes sense. But despite that quick equalizer from Portugal, Spain still managed to get back in front before the half.
They did. Just before the break, 44th minute, Oyarzabal scores.
Assisted by Pedri.
Yep, lovely ball from Pedri. And Oyarzabal. That sources love talking about him in finals. He just seems to deliver.
He does have that reputation, doesn't he? Goals in the 2021 Nations League Final, Euro 2024 Final.
Exactly, called a lethal nine. The gentleman of finals. He just has that knack.
Gentleman of finals. I like that. So 2-1 to Spain at halftime. VAR checks confirmed the goals. No major controversy there, according to the report.
Right. Then second half kicks off, and Portugal make changes straight away. Rúben Neves comes on, Semedo too.
Trying to change the dynamic.
Seems like it. Inject some fresh legs, maybe more intensity. And Spain, well, they seem to find it tougher going in the second half.
Yeah. Was it Portugal's changes or maybe fatigue setting in for Spain? What did the sources suggest?
Probably a bit of both. Portugal definitely came out stronger, more energetic. It made it harder for Spain to keep that control they like.
And specific players struggling for Spain.
Commentary mentioned Mingueza, the right back, having a difficult time dealing with Portugal's attacks down his side. Spain just didn't look as smooth.
And that pressure told, didn't it? Around the hour mark, Portugal find another equalizer.
They do. 61st minute. And it's Cristiano Ronaldo.
Of course. Who else?
And guess who was involved in the build-up again?
Let me guess. Nuno Mendes.
You got it. Driving down that left side again. Sources make a point of Ronaldo's age, 40. But this was goal number 138 for Portugal. 15th in the Nations League.
Incredible numbers.
Yeah. And the point made was, even if he wasn't dominating the whole game like maybe he used to, he still has that killer instinct. Finds the net right when they need it most. That decisive action.
Never write him off. So 2-2, Spain must have been rocked by that. Did they respond? They made changes too.
Yeah, they brought on Isco, Mikel Merino, trying to regain some sort of foothold.
Isco's return was a big story. After 6 years away from the national team, did he make an impact?
He did, actually.
Yeah.
Sources mention him looking lively, had a really good shot, powerful strike around the 83rd minute. That forced a brilliant save from Diogo Costa.
Costa keeping Portugal level there. Any other elite chances?
Bruno Fernandes had a free kick that Unai Simon saved well. But ultimately, neither side could find that winner in the 90 minutes.
So 2-2 it finishes. Off to extra time we go.
And extra time, well, reports describe it as just a real grind, a battle of wills, fatigue really kicking in.
Who looks stronger physically?
The observation from several sources was that maybe, just maybe, Portugal looked slightly fresher as those 30 minutes went on.
Were there any clear-cut chances in extra time?
A couple of moments. Semedo had a miss early on for Portugal, a decent chance. And later, Pedro Porros tried this, like really audacious shot from way out for Spain. Almost caught Diogo Costa by surprise. Heart and mouth moment for Portugal fans, I bet.
I can imagine. And more subs coming on. Fresh legs desperately needed.
Oh, yeah. Both sides shuffling the pack. Portugal brought on Leão, shootout. Spain used Baena, Porro, Pino. Eventually, Morata came on too. Yamal went off for Spain during this period.
Things that get intense too. Any incidents?
There was a bit of a flare-up mentioned. Baena and Nuno Mendes had a confrontation. Both got yellow cards. Just shows the pressure, even with everyone running on empty.
Understandable. But still no goals after 120 minutes.
Nope. Despite the efforts, it stayed 2-2. So penalties it was.
The ultimate drama. And the sources really paint a picture of the tension, right? In front of the Portuguese fans. The lottery, as some called it.
Exactly. High-stakes lottery. Portugal went first. And talk about composure.
They were flawless, weren't they? Gonçalo Ramos, Vitinha, Bruno Fernandes, Nuno Mendes again, all scored. First 4 rounds, perfect.
Incredible under that pressure. Didn't give Spain any room for error.
Spain responded well initially, though. Merino, Baena, Isco all put theirs away.
They did. Sources noted Merino and Baena went the same way with their kicks. Isco's had power, even though Costa got a touch. Costa's approach was mentioned too, maybe trying to play some mind games compared to Simon doing his little jumps, the shimmy.
The shimmy. Okay, so it's 4-3 to Portugal after 4 kicks each, effectively. Spain's 4th penalty taker steps up. Álvaro Morata. Captain's armband on. Huge moment.
Massive moment. And Diogo Costa saves it.
What did the sources say about the kick?
Described as maybe too central or poorly hit. Just didn't have the placement or maybe the conviction needed. You could see Morata's reaction immediately. Just gutted. That save felt huge.
Absolutely pivotal, because that meant Portugal's 5th penalty taker had the chance to win it.
Exactly. Score was 4-3. Rúben Neves walks up. If he scores, Portugal are champions.
And
he scores. Calm as you like. Sent Unai Simon the wrong way. Ball hits the net. Portugal win. Cue the celebrations.
Wow. Must have been incredible scenes. Sources mentioned Ronaldo's reaction.
Yeah, very emotional. Tears of joy on the sideline, apparently. Clearly meant a massive amount to him and the whole team.
And a big achievement for Portugal, right? Their 2nd Nations League title.
First nation to win it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really cements their status in this competition.
And for Spain, just disappointment, I imagine, especially for Morata. And that loss ended a long unbeaten run for them, too.
It did. 23 matches unbeaten. That streak was over. And runners up again, 2nd time in this competition. That's got to sting.
What about the post-match comments? What did the key figures say?
Well, Ronaldo, as you'd expect, talked about how special winning for Portugal is, his pride in the team's fight. Roberto Martinez praised Ronaldo's leadership, called him vital for their belief.
And Rúben Neves, the penalty hero.
He called it the most important moment of his career. You can understand why.
On the Spanish side, Luis de la Fuente.
He took responsibility for the penalty order, specifically Morata's kick, said it was his call, but also stressed his pride in reaching 3 straight finals, showing consistency even with the final loss.
And the players, Zubimendi, Oyarzabal?
Reflected on it being a tough loss, decided by small margins, basically the penalty shootout lottery. Still proud of the effort. Morata himself reportedly just said he didn't hit the penalty well, has to learn from it. Very honest.
Any other context points from the sources?
Yeah, a couple of things. Nuno Mendes was named MVP for the whole tournament. Totally deserved based on his performance, especially in the final. That energy up and down the wing was immense.
Absolutely.
And there was the wider context for Spain fans. Apparently, Carlos Alcaraz had won Roland Garros earlier that same day. So a day of real sporting highs and lows for Spain.
right? A real emotional roller coaster for their fans. And the sources also mentioned separately a couple of other incidents.
Yes, just to give the full picture reported from Munich, there was a tragic incident mentioned involving a fan falling in the stands, a very somber note, and also mention of a controversial flag being shown briefly on the TV broadcast, which prompted a commentator reaction.
Okay, important context points reported around the event, even if separate from the on-field action itself.
Exactly. Part of the overall reporting we found.
So wrapping this deep dive up, what we saw in the sources was this incredibly close final. Goals answered quickly, momentum shifts, key players stepping up Zubimendi smarts, Oyarzabal the final scorer, Nuno Mendes everywhere, Ronaldo still decisive.
And all leading to that ultimate drama of the shootout. Costa's save on Morata, Rúben Neves winning it, just pure tension.
It really shows how diving into these different sources gives you so much more than just the 2-2 scoreline before penalties, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The tactics, the individual stories, the pressure, it all comes through.
It does. So here's a final thought for you to take away, based purely on what we've seen in the sources today. Portugal won with this mix, right? Established stars like Ronaldo delivering key moments, but also emerging talents like Mendes and Vitinha being absolutely crucial. While Spain had their young guns like Yamal and Nico Williams alongside experienced heads like Pedri and Oyarzabal, but just fell short. As both these nations look towards, say, the 2026 World Cup, what does this final, this specific blend of youth and experience, either succeeding or failing under pressure, tell you about the strength and maybe the different paths these two footballing powers might be on? Something to think about.